In the heart of medieval England, a peculiar story unfolded, one so strange that it continues to baffle historians, folklorists, and mystery enthusiasts alike. Imagine a quiet village surrounded by fields and woods where farmers toil under the sun. Suddenly, two children appear, lost, confused, and unlike any others ever seen. Their skin was green, their language unknown, and their story even more bizarre. Who were these mysterious children? Where did they come from? And why was their skin a shade of green? Some say they wandered from a parallel world or a subterranean kingdom. Others believe they were survivors of war and famine. Was it a case of malnutrition? Or something far more extraordinary? Join me as we delve into the legend of the Green Children of Woolpit, one of England's most perplexing folktales. We'll explore the theories, unravel the mystery, and discover why this story has endured for over 8 centuries. This is a tale of wonder, survival, and the unknown. So sit back, hit that like button, and let's journey together into the depths of this captivating enigma. Let's begin. The discovery of the Green Children of Woolpit is one of the most mysterious and debated tales from medieval England. The event reportedly took place in the small Suffolk village of Woolpit, likely during the 12th century when England was ruled by either King Stephen, 1135 to 1154, or King Henry II, 1154 to 1189. The story is recounted by two chroniclers of the time, William of Newburgh in his Historia Rerum Anglicarum and Ralph of Coggeshall, the abbot of a nearby monastery. Both provide slightly different versions, but the core details remain consistent. Woolpit, a name derived from Woolpit, was a rural village known for its traps used to catch wolves. The events took place during harvest time, likely in late summer or early autumn, when villagers were working in the fields. Villagers found two young children, a boy and a girl, near the entrance of one of the wolf pits. The children appeared normal in shape and form but were profoundly unusual in several ways. Green skin, both children had a green hue to their skin, unlike anything the villagers had ever seen. Strange clothing, their clothes were made from materials and styles unfamiliar to the locals. Incomprehensible language, the children spoke a language no one in the village could recognize or understand. The astonished villagers brought the children into the village and, unable to communicate with them, took them to the home of Sir Richard the Carn, a nearby landowner. Sir Richard and his household attempted to feed the children, but they refused all food offered to them. They remained without nourishment until they were presented with green beans still in their pots. Recognizing this, the children eagerly ate the beans, seemingly familiar with this food. For a period, green beans were the only food they consumed. Despite receiving care, the boy grew weak and eventually died. Accounts do not detail the precise cause of his death, though it is often attributed to the combined effects of malnourishment, illness, and the trauma of their mysterious journey. The girl grew stronger over time. She began eating a broader range of foods, and as her health improved, her green skin gradually faded. Eventually, she was fully integrated into English society. She learned to speak English and, when questioned, told a story that only deepened the mystery of their origins. The girl explained that she and her brother came from a land called St. Martin's Land. Her description of their homeland was peculiar. The land was in perpetual twilight, with no bright sunlight, only a dim glow resembling twilight or early evening. Everyone in St. Martin's Land had green skin. A great river separated St. Martin's Land from another, brighter country. She recounted that they had been tending their father's livestock when they heard a loud noise described as the ringing of bells. Following the sound, they entered a cave or underground passage. After walking for a long time, they emerged into the bright sunlight of Woolpit, where they were found by the villagers. Historians and scholars have offered numerous explanations for the strange details of this story. 1. Historical and political context. Some suggest that the children were Flemish refugees. During the 12th century, Flemish settlers in England faced persecution, particularly after a failed rebellion against King Henry II in 1173. The green hue of their skin could have been caused by chlorosis, a condition linked to malnutrition and iron deficiency, which sometimes gives the skin a greenish tint. Their strange language may have been Flemish or another European dialect unfamiliar to rural English villagers. 2. A supernatural or folkloric origin. Another interpretation is that the story is rooted in folklore or myth. The reference to St. Martin's Land, a twilight realm, has led some to believe the children were from a parallel world or a subterranean realm. The cave or tunnel could symbolize a passage between worlds, a common motif in European folklore. 3. An allegory or moral tale. The story may be an allegory about cultural integration and xenophobia. The children's green skin and strange language symbolized the experience of foreigners who eventually assimilate into society. The girl's survival and adaptation represent the possibility of acceptance and integration. 4. Astronomical or natural explanations. Some modern theorists have speculated wildly imaginative explanations, including alien origins or other dimensional beings, though these ideas are not supported by historical evidence and lean heavily into speculative fiction. When the children were first taken in by Sir Richard de Calne, he and his household offered them a variety of foods common to medieval English diets. However, the children refused to eat everything presented to them. They appeared unfamiliar with the food and seemed either incapable of recognizing it as nourishment or unwilling to consume it. This reaction further emphasized their foreign or otherworldly nature in the minds of the villagers. After some time, the children were presented with green beans still in their pods. Unlike the other foods, the children immediately recognized the beans, eagerly picking them out of the pods and eating them raw. This was the only food they consumed for a period, suggesting that green beans or similar vegetables might have been a staple in their homeland. As the surviving girl remained under Sir Richard's care, she slowly adjusted to a broader range of foods. Over time, her health improved and the green hue of her skin faded, possibly as a result of better nutrition. Her adaptation to a new diet marked her integration into the world of Woolpit and English society. The children's peculiar dietary habits have been analyzed from various perspectives, offering different explanations. 1. Nutritional deficiency and malnourishment. One of the most common theories is that the green children were suffering from a form of malnutrition. A condition known as chlorosis, or green sickness, was common in medieval times. It is linked to iron deficiency anemia and can cause a greenish tint to the skin. If the children were malnourished, it could explain both their green skin and their initial rejection of unfamiliar foods, as they may have lacked the enzymes or dietary experiences necessary to process them. The beans they ate may have been similar to the foods available in their previous environment, making them recognizable and digestible. 2. Cultural and environmental differences. If the children were from a culturally or geographically isolated community, they might have been raised on a diet that significantly differed from the typical medieval English fare. Their reluctance to eat unfamiliar foods could be attributed to cultural preferences or a lack of exposure to different types of sustenance. This theory aligns with the idea that they were Flemish refugees or came from a secluded agricultural society. 3. Symbolic or folkloric significance. In folklore, food often carries symbolic meanings. The children's consumption of green beans might symbolize a connection to plant-based life or natural elements, reflecting their supposed origins from a mystical land of twilight. The eventual acceptance of other foods could represent a transition from a supernatural existence to the human world. 4. Speculative theories. Some speculative theories, including those involving extraterrestrial or interdimensional origins, interpret the children's strange diet as evidence of their non-human physiology. This perspective suggests that their initial inability to eat typical human food indicates a biological difference, although this idea is purely fictional. Shortly after the discovery of the green-skinned children, both were taken into the care of Sir Richard de Calne, a local landowner, who provided them with shelter and food. However, despite the villagers' efforts to nurture the children back to health, the boy grew weak and died within a short time. The exact cause of his death remains unspecified in historical accounts, though it is commonly attributed to the following factors. 1. Malnutrition and starvation. One plausible explanation for the boy's death is that he had already been severely malnourished before his discovery. The children initially refused all food except for green beans, and this limited diet may not have been sufficient to restore his health. His weakened state could have been the result of long-term dietary deficiencies from his homeland or the stress of his journey through the unknown. 2. Illness or disease. The boy may have succumbed to an illness that was exacerbated by the trauma of their sudden transition into an unfamiliar environment. In medieval times, malnutrition and exposure to new pathogens were common causes of death, particularly in vulnerable children. 3. Psychological trauma. The shock of being displaced from their homeland and the fear of their new surroundings could have contributed to the boy's decline. His inability to communicate with the villagers, compounded by the trauma of being lost and possibly separated from family, may have had a severe psychological impact on his health. Unlike her brother, the girl adapted more successfully to her new life in Woolpit. After the initial period of dietary restriction, she began eating a more varied diet, which improved her overall health. Over time, the green tint of her skin faded, further suggesting that her unusual appearance was linked to nutritional deficiencies rather than an inherent condition. Factors contributing to the girl's survival. 1. Better nutritional intake. As her diet expanded, the girl likely received the nutrients necessary to recover from any deficiencies. The change in her skin color aligns with the theory that her green hue was caused by chlorosis, a condition related to iron deficiency anemia. 2. Gradual social and cultural adaptation. The girl learned to speak English, allowing her to communicate with her caretakers and integrate into society. This linguistic and social adaptation may have provided her with emotional support, contributing to her improved well-being. 3. Robust constitution or different biological responses. It is possible that the girl's constitution was stronger than her brother's, making her more resilient to the physical and emotional challenges they faced. In many folktales and real-life accounts, differences in individual health and adaptability can lead to divergent outcomes even in shared experiences. Historical records suggest that the girl eventually became fully assimilated into English society. According to some versions of the story, she was baptized, married a man from King's Lynn, and lived a relatively normal life. However, her origins remained a topic of mystery and fascination. Once able to speak English, the girl explained that she and her brother came from a place called St. Martin's Land. Her description of this world was both fantastical and puzzling. 1. A world of perpetual twilight. She described her homeland as a place where the sun never fully rose, and the entire land was bathed in a kind of perpetual twilight or dim light. This detail is one of the most intriguing and mysterious elements of her story, suggesting an environment fundamentally different from the sunlit world of Woolpit. 2. Green-hued people. The girl claimed that everyone in St. Martin's Land had green skin, like she and her brother did when they first appeared in Woolpit. This suggests that the green color was normal and unremarkable in her world rather than a sign of illness or malnutrition. 3. A land beyond a great river. She mentioned that St. Martin's Land was separated from a brighter country by a wide river. This other country, unlike her homeland, was bathed in full sunlight. 4. Following the sound of bells. According to her account, she and her brother were tending their father's livestock when they heard the ringing of bells. Curious, they followed the sound, entering a cave or subterranean passage. After walking through the darkness for what seemed like a long time, they emerged into the bright world of Woolpit, where they were discovered by villagers. The girl's description of St. Martin's Land has led to numerous theories attempting to explain the children's origins, ranging from historical interpretations to supernatural speculations. 1. Flemish refugees. One of the most widely accepted theories is that the children were Flemish immigrants or refugees. In the 12th century, Flemish people settled in parts of England but were sometimes subjected to persecution. After the Battle of Fonham in 1173, many Flemish refugees were displaced. If the children had come from a Flemish-speaking community, their unfamiliar language and attire would have seemed strange to the rural English villagers. Their green skin could be attributed to malnutrition, specifically chlorosis, a type of anemia that gives the skin a greenish hue. The twilight land they described might have been a heavily forested or dark environment. 2. Subterranean or parallel world. Some interpretations suggest that St. Martin's Land was a subterranean world or parallel dimension. In European folklore, caves and tunnels often serve as passages to hidden or magical realms. The perpetual twilight described by the girl aligns with common mythological themes of liminal spaces, places between worlds where normal rules of time and nature do not apply. The sound of bells that led them out could be interpreted as church bells or a folkloric reference to fairy realms, where bells are sometimes used to lure humans. 3. An allegory or symbolic tale. Another explanation views the story as an allegory or a symbolic representation of cultural integration. The green children may symbolize the experience of foreigners or marginalized people entering a new society. The girl's gradual assimilation, learning the language, eating new foods, and losing her green tint represents the process of adaptation and acceptance. 4. Extraterrestrial or otherworldly beings. Some speculative theories suggest that the green children were of alien origin, with St. Martin's Land representing another planet or dimension where conditions differ from Earth. The green skin could be a result of their unique physiology, and the description of twilight could reflect the environment of their homeworld. While this idea is rooted in modern science fiction, it has captured the imagination of many. And so, the mystery of the green children of Woolpit lives on, a tale blending history, folklore, and speculation into a story that has captured imaginations for centuries. Were they refugees from a war-torn land, lost children suffering from malnutrition? Or perhaps they were travelers from a hidden world, glimpsed just once before vanishing back into the unknown. History has offered many plausible explanations, but none have completely solved the riddle. The story remains a puzzle, one where facts blur into legend, and imagination fills the gaps. In the end, it's the very ambiguity that keeps us fascinated, leaving us to wonder, dream, and debate. Perhaps the truth lies hidden somewhere, waiting for us to discover it. Until then, the green children of Woolpit remind us of the power of mystery, and the stories that connect us to our past, our myths, and our sense of wonder. Thank you for joining me on this journey into one of England's most enduring legends. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating stories from the world's deepest mysteries. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you believe happened to the green children of Woolpit? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep seeking the stories that spark curiosity.